Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 37. Let's jump into things. So, right off the bat, we have Alteration level 4 completed and Conjuration level 1 completed. So, boom, for both of those. That's pretty exciting for us. Alteration 4, for example, is a pretty decent power spike. Adding in the ability to put temper flesh onto our Onis makes them that much more resilient. Really helps kind of like put them into the field of the kind of like SC kind of standpoint. And now that we're at Construction 6, that's going to allow them to, stacked with things like Armor of the Knights or other good gear, is going to allow them to be very oppressive, generally speaking. Against certain people, though, that is, right? Again, in the matchup that we picked versus Hinnom, not the greatest matchup for us because Melkarts, or Brephite warriors, are actually capable of dealing with Dione, so, oof. Anyways, moving on. As far as site searching goes, we have a semi-lucky turn here in Zemike. We have discovered an Iron Cliff and a Well of Pestilence. So we've been kind of like under the concept that there's been a Well of Pestilence here for a while. We have now confirmed that. So +1 on the Death Gem side of things. Does increase death, does spread diseases, and does boost death ritual range. We don't really have any death rituals that I'm super intrigued by about using right now, but we'll try to keep that in mind. And then an Iron Cliff is a +1 Earth Gem per turn. So, along with 14 Blood Slaves and Gint, that takes us to gem income of Earth +1 and Death +1. So, not too bad. Pretty happy about that. So, there we go. Track that time real quick. All right, we have a couple of battles. Mostly we have signs of Hinnom, counter raiding against both Agartha and I. But we've got some interesting information that we have sussed out from this, so we'll talk about it further after we watch the battle. So, first in Cormark. All right, so this is just some mind game scenarios back and forth. We've got a single leader here, right? Versus just a Cavern Guard here. Cavern Guard is leaderless, so, the army of Agartha is routed, but in actuality, the enemy commander, the Hinnom commander, was set to retreat. And due to just the slow movement speed, the slow combat speed of the Cavern Guard, the Hinnom commander actually makes it off the battlefield prior to the Cavern Guard, which means that Gartha actually wins, which is very funny in this particular instance. And we'll talk about more why. So there's another battle here, Hinnom attacking in Rentail. So this is a small force of undead and Rephites up against PD, so this should be no problemo for Hinnom. It's blessed up, they run forward, and easily able to chop against the province defense. Very nice. Any losses? No losses. Very good for Hinnom. We attacked in Sulfuria with our Dione with Tokimochi. So let's see how we did here. We got a full stack of wolves. And this is just slingers, so we should have zero issue here. Flying shield, flight, air shield, and we go up, come down, and proceed to chop things. Okay, pretty easy win there. Killed 8 units, not bad. We get to watch as Agartha attacks in Runia. So this is just southeast of the Agarthan capital. Which kind of makes me a little sad. I wish that I don't know the particulars, right? But if this army had been conjoined with the army that just lost on Agartha's capital, they might have had enough forces to actually win in Agartha and taken their cap back. So, as it is, they're up against just a singular PD. So pretty easy for them to best as is. So good for them. And then we get counter-rated in Shambolic. So let's see what Hinnom is sending out after me. Oof. Oof, that's dangerous. Okay, so a bunch of Avite light infantry and then some Melkarts who are lightly kitted out, right? They do have a Holy Scourge on this Melkart, so that's very interesting. Take a look at that more here in a second. I got a couple of Shamans and an Ami out here. We've got just one PD here, so let's just see what they're kind of doing. We got some body ethereal going on from basically all three of the Shamans, throwing out body ethereal onto the Melkarts. Got Iron Warriors, got some blessings. Also, we got Astral Shield, Temper Flesh. All right, good. And then kind of just off to war. So, very well protected, very hard hitting, very high HP, ethereal. Gonna be really, really difficult for us to deal with, honestly. Okay, that is dangerous. So, as far as wins and losses go, we have one win versus Hinnom and one loss versus Hinnom. So pretty cool. We've got more to talk about from the battle side of things, but we'll wait until after we go through all the rest of the things. So we've got a couple of events this turn. We have forces. Basically the Throne of Gaia does the whole like awaken Earth Elementals thing, so we get attacked in Grey Mountains. We have a rebirth event in Iron Caverns. We gained a slave caller in Zenthra. I'm not gonna report on that. That's not worthwhile enough. I mean, the slave caller is somewhat useful, but only in weird, like, kitschy kind of strategies, so not gonna be super useful to us. And then in the below, an earthquake has struck, killing many people and destroying our temple. So unfortunate. Let's do event temple -1, right? So oops, no bueno, right? Let me mark that down. And then we have this battle in Grey Mountains, but this is not an issue in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Grey Mountains is over here, right? So this was not a chance for the Earth Elementals. The entrance to the fortification in Jabero has been breached. It was breached last turn. So yeah, let's take a look at things. So first thing that I want to actually take a look at is a situation. If you can spot it now, you win a prize. And what we're looking at is basically we cannot see the Agarthan army anymore or the Hinnom army. And that is a really bad thing to note, especially while we're noting other things. So, Agartha was on Cormark. We know they left a single unit there. So we know the Hinnom army did not go to Cormark, okay? We know they didn't go to Shambolic, and we can see that they're not in Mereni. Which means that they had to go to one of these two, and just to hazard a guess, seeing what we see here in Cormark, knowing that Agartha did not leave any units there aside from this singular cavern guard, but now we can see several Great Olms and an Oracle of the Dead in Cormark, it is a pretty safe assumption that Agartha headed south towards Rolothia, or southwest, and Hinnom called their movement and caught them in Relothia. And it looks like probably won. I don't know how well, but that is bad news for us. Obviously, any victory for Hinnom is bad news for us. Now there's a world, right, where we could be like, oh, okay, well, if Hinnom lost that, but lost it with like 60% losses, then that would be pretty good for us, because then Hinnom is weak and Agartha is weak, and we can maybe come in and clean up. But I don't know that that's going to be the case, and I was not able to obtain that information. So from what I have deduced, I'm pretty sure Hinnom has defeated the larger portion of the Agarthan army, and now it's just a matter of Hinnom mopping up Agartha and potentially then turning to deal with us. So, what are we doing this turn? Well, we are storming the castle in Jabero, which might be too late now that Hinnom has open access to us via Shambolic and I guess not Merini, but basically via Shambolic. They might be able to move directly onto us in Jabero, so we might get caught here. I'm not sure, though. We're going to try and take Jabero and see how that works out. We're sending Tokomochi in as kind of backup, just to see how that goes. We're also attacking in Shambolic. This is probably not a good idea. We've also equalized the troops between Tadashi and Kiyotomo. We're moving Kiyotomo over to Osting to try to deal with these being taken back. I'm assuming that this army is going to go north and try to counter raid, or at least one of the Melkarts will try to go north and counter raid. But I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll see how it goes. I do not expect this army to go directly into Jabero, even though it potentially could take this force. There's risk, and there's risk in doing that, and there's not much reward, right? Like, taking Jabero doesn't seem to be that big of a deal necessarily. I mean, it is a nice population province, but considering what Hinnom is facing, I would assume he's not going to throw things willy-nilly, right? So I'm hoping to take Jabero this turn, and fingers crossed. Other than that, there are not a lot of movements that are really like battle-ish movements. Again, most of these are just moving, picking up Oni, moving them to locations, picking up Oni, moving them to locations, picking up Oni, moving them to locations, moving to places to site search, etc., etc. So, not a whole lot going on as far as that goes. Arcosfale still alive, still waiting for that hammer to kind of drop, and I think that this is kind of a new development. I think that Ubar has declared war on Saramatia. So, if I'm remembering correctly, Saramatia and Helheim had a bit of a agreement to take Arcosfale, and that went pretty successful for them, but now Ubar is basically like Kool-Aid Man in from the side, and I don't know if Helheim has any intention of jumping in to help defend Saramatia. I don't know if Saramatia needs the defense, but it does look like Ubar has alpha'd Saramatia fairly well. Because of that, I am going to try to kind of like keep my eye on this border. I do have a non-aggression pact with Saramatia, but typically, I mean, this just kind of happens, right? Typically, when you have polite negotiations, polite diplomacy with your neighbors, and they get alpha'd, what a lot of people will do is they'll be like, hey, friendly neighbor, I freely end our nap, feel free to take my stuff, so just as kind of like a spit in the eye of their enemy kind of thing. Like, I would rather you take my stuff than my enemy take my stuff. So I don't know that is going to be what happens here, but I am going to try to be at the ready with like a little force here to take at least this throne, if that is what happens. In the meantime, we are working to kind of like build up our demon production, primarily in Mysia, Iron Caverns. I want to get things going back in below. Unfortunately, we just lost the temple there. I should have put one up this turn. I don't know why I didn't, but apparently I didn't. So there's that. And yeah, I think as far as that goes, we're pretty much done. Research-wise, jumping further into Conjuration, we talked about this already, right? We're going for Conjuration 4. We pick up a couple things along the way. We pick up some Karasu Tengus along the way. This is all but impossible for us to cast except through our god right now, which we could do if we needed to. But later on, next turn, or not turn, Conjuration 3, we get Konoha Tengus, which are actually relatively easy for us to summon, either through, I think, basically just through Dione. Can we do those through some Onishigo? Can't remember. Yeah, we can do those through... No, we can't do those through Onishiga. We can only do those through the occasional Dione right now. But, I mean, still something that we can do if we need to. And then we also get Ambush of Tigers, which we can actually do through the... either our god or the... My mind is blanking. The Lizard Shamans, right? Along the way, we're also getting Summon Earth Power, which is pretty important. We get Lesser Elementals, which is nice. We get Phoenix Power, which can also be nice. And we get access to things like Dark Knowledge, which can potentially be useful. We'll probably start casting that. We get things like Revive Whites or Banes, which can be useful if we need to chop through some high armored targets, for etc. Right? And then going to Conjuration 4, really what we get there, aside from little pick-me-ups like Voice of Apsu, is we're getting Shikomes, which we can spam out a crap ton of Shikomes pretty quickly, and they are pretty decent. We get other things too, but primarily it's the Shikomes here. And then we potentially... I have Vocation queued up just to maybe get us some like fire stuff, and also get us to Arcane Probing and to Magic Duel. So Magic Duel is potentially an option for a fair amount of Hinnom troops or Hinnom mages have access to like to Astral. So it's not a great option. Don't get me wrong. We don't want to do this. But we could just pop out as many Lizard Shamans as we can and try to Magic Duel. You know, the right Melkart can get Magic Duel. The plenty of their what is it, like their Amis, or no, it's not their Amis. Was it their Baals can get Magic Dueled, right? Their Kohens can get Magic Dueled. Their Ami is going to get Magic Dueled, right? So, like, there's a fair amount of individuals that could get Magic Dueled from Hinnom if we needed to go that route. But yeah, anyways. Mostly, you guys know me, though, or anyone who watches me, you know I really want Arcane Probing. I want to, like, site search every single freaking province that we have so we can actually get a decent astral income. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think that is pretty much it for research and kind of like where we've been going and how that's happening. We've done current events. The only real status quo change is the fact that I think Agartha's army is destroyed and Ubar is now attacking Sarmatia. I think the only other thing left is like rituals and then forgings. We're not really doing any rituals this turn. Recruitment wise, nothing's really changed. We're basically, I'm trying to say, I realize why I did not build a temple this turn, because I'm trying to save money so that next turn, because next turn I will have this Dione, I'm not going to be able to afford a new one, so I'm trying to save money to be able to afford a new one, because I'm not getting a lot of income events or anything else, things like that firing, so that's why I'm saving money. I remember that now. So no buildings, no rituals. We are forging things, though. We are forging a couple things. We're forging an owl quill. We're forging armor of the knights. Armor of the knights is, if you do not know what that item is, that's a construction 6 item. Oh, right. We're supposed to look at, so, oh, is that? Yeah, no, he had Holy Scourge, right? He had Holy Scourge. Let's check. Shambolic, you battle. I don't know if this guy had a Holy Scourge or if he had the star. Yeah, he had a Holy Scourge. Okay, so Holy Scourge is very good anti-undead weapon. But it is not the Evening Star, which is what I was concerned about there for a second. So this is the Evening Star. I don't know why am I concerned about this? No, I should be concerned about the Holy Scourge. Holy Scourge is by far the more concern. I thought Evening Star was basically Holy Scourge, but better and one-handed. But that is not the case. So never mind. Ignore me on that. Anyways, we are making an Armor of the Knights, which is a very high base protection body with low defensive penalty and low encumbrance penalty. So compare that to the heavy samurai army. We're looking at 5 more points of protection on the body, 2 less defense loss, and 2 less encumbrance, along with a lower map move penalty. So, Armor of the Knights is really probably the best stock armor in the game, and it's very, very cheap. If you have a hammer, you're making these for 3, which, I mean, we have an income of 13 per turn right now, so pretty awesome. We probably want to start making Armor of the Knights basically every single turn, because throwing an Armor of the Knights on a Dione and then having them do something like Iron Skin basically jumps their protection without anything else, basically jumps their protection up to 30 plus. So very, very strong. And coupling that with things like Temper Flesh, the fact that we have Awe, right, and Regeneration built into our Bless, and that's going to make our Dione very, very, very difficult to deal with, generally speaking. Okay? So, 1 Owl Quill, 1 Armor of the Knights, and then we're actually doing what we probably should have been doing the previous turn, and that is making a bunch of Lightless Lanterns. So we have 1, 2, and 3 Lightless Lanterns being made this turn, which are going to add a significant boost to our research speed. Again, if you haven't seen things like Lightless Lanterns, they are a plus 12 research, cost 3 fire gems if you are making them with a hammer. They are tainted, so your units will become horror marked and you'll eventually start to lose them to horrors, but it does take a long time and it is well worth it. The only issue is that we don't really have a decent fire income, so we're spending 9 gems this turn. We only make 4 gems per turn, so we're going to run out of fire gems pretty quickly if we are doing this with any amount of speed. So that's going to be scary. Fingers crossed. We'll see how that goes. All right, so that was 1 Owl Quill, 3 Lightless Lanterns, and an Armor of the Knights. Let me jot that down. And I think that's about it, honestly. I can't really think of anything else that is too terribly big of an issue. Still consolidating, still site searching everywhere we can, basically still trying to play catch up, I think, with the bigger threats of the game. Like, I think Ubar is a bigger threat in the game. I think Helheim is a bigger threat in the game. Ermor, I think, is a big threat, but I think they're a big research threat. I think they're small from a land size. And now we've kind of committed ourselves to this war against Hinnom, but I don't know that it's in our best interests. I do think it was in our best interest when Agartha had a strong army and was fighting against them, and when we thought Ermor was coming in with us. But now we're in a situation where here's the thing. I'm not overly concerned about fighting Hinnom, right? I do think we could win a war against them, it's gonna take kind of clever play and some luck, but I do think we can win a war against them, if only by the fact that they are probably war weary and weak because of what happened with Agartha, right? But it's not gonna be a super beneficial war, is the thing, right? A super beneficial war would have been a war that was over in 5 to 10 turns, and I got 4 or 5 provinces out of it, and then I could turn to thinking about something else. This will be a slow grind that ends up being 20 plus turns, not counting what we've already dedicated. So is questionable whether or not this is a war that we need to be in, and we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.